David Flores, My Mother's DNA.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guest. My mother's DNA. We know that when we're born, we take half our chromosomes from our father, another half from our mother. And certain people say that there are certain traits that each child will inherit from your parents. My mom, I'm so grateful that she gave me a trait that I have cherished for most of my life. And that trait is she has always been a person who always positive in life, enjoyed life as much as she could, and made friends whenever she had the opportunity to do so. She lived a fun life doing things that she liked to do. But I learned later in life, as I got older, that my mom had to go through some difficult times, some difficult challenges. And I could always wonder, why would she be so positive of all the things that had gone wrong in her life and the losses she had to live with? Some of the biggest challenges we face in life is losing loved ones or people that are close to you. I found out about my mom's early life and the challenges she faced. Picture in your mind a little girl, probably in the age of 5, 6, maybe 7 years old, taking a wooden crate, placing it underneath the window of her mom and dad's bedroom, and peering inside. What she saw, I'll come back to in a second. But what I realized when I found out the story of her life in her early years is that she would have been one of 7 siblings altogether. But unfortunately, the first birth of her mother's, the child passed away. Then my mom was born. Then again, a child passed away in another pregnancy. Then after that, her younger brother was born. Again, a child came into the earth and passed away. Then following that, her second younger brother was born. Now back to the window, as she peered in, at the moment, her father was taking the bed sheet and covering up her mother, who had just passed away in childbirth. A few hours later, the baby died also. I'm sure she realized the losses because she was old enough to know that watching her mother go through pregnancy and then knowing that there would be a younger brother or a younger sister coming, but never came, and it lost it. So she had losses in her life from a very early age, and yet it didn't affect her in her whole life. She managed to bounce back and really live life to the fullest. The losses I know of her in her life, when I was around, was obviously when my father passed away after a long marriage with my mom. She mourned like she always does, and then she bounced back and go on with life. Her father passed away, and the same thing. That was the only grandparent I knew, but I was too young to realize much about it, and I don't know how much she mourned, but she always seemed to be in an upside mood. She was always happy. She was always doing things for us and doing things for her friends and neighbors. Then later in life, her brother passed away, her younger brother. I remember that. She mourned for her younger brother, but again, picked herself up, got on with life, and enjoyed as much as she could. But a couple of occasions I thought were really going to be difficult for her. I remember that she agonized for a whole year when her second oldest son, my half brother Bobby, was in Vietnam, and she would pray every night for his safety to come home. And after his year's term and after his service in the military, he survived and came home. I know she was very happy. She was really thrilled to have him back safe and sound. But unfortunately, a few years later, he became ill, quite ill. And within a week's time, passed away. They said it was probably from Agent Orange exposure, but they would never admit any guilt on that regard. So as a mother and as a parent, those kind of losses are probably the most difficult to have. Yet she moved on with life, continued to be as brilliant and happy as she could be. Then years later, again, a loss, her daughter to cancer. As a parent, that's probably the most difficult thing and the most biggest challenge and losses you can have in life is that of your children going before you. But she lived life and she went on. I know that she was sad for quite a while when her two children passed away. But again, she still picked up and moved right along. In fact, she kept her humor all through her life, even in her older ages prior to passing away at the ripe age of 93. That I would take her to the doctor's office and she would joke with people all the time and meet with them. And the doctor would ask her, "How you doing?" And she would say something like, "Now, tell me more about these golden years I'm waiting to have." She just always had a smile. She was always outgoing. She never let life get her down. And that's a trait I think I picked up from her, because I have had challenges in life, nothing like hers. But every time I had a challenge, I would pick myself up, dust myself off, and move on. And that's a trait I think I picked up from my mom. So I'm really honored and happy that of all things that she left with me, she left me the ability to continue on with life, to enjoy it as much as I can, not to take it too seriously, but to make the best of the time you have. And I think that's what I really honor most about her, is that she was always, always happy all the way to the end. And I am so proud to have had her pass that trait on to me, because I know my brother didn't get it because he's the opposite of me. Mr. Toastmaster.